If you're suddenly feeling a little sick after clicking on this video, don't worry because it's time for the Poison type best team. You guys know the drill by now. The best team series is back at it again this week with another new typing. Remember, the biggest rule here is that a Pokemon never appears more than once on one of these best teams. If you don't see Salazzle on this team, there's a chance you'll see it on the best team for fire types, and that goes the same for any other poison types that has a Suck and Dual typing attached. A big thing to mention for you all to keep in mind, as always, these typing teams should be viewed more as theme teams to have decent fun with, rather than something you should take into the monotype tier. So that being said, allow me to present the antidote to your curiosity with this brand new best team. The last few best team videos I've done for these different typings haven't left me with many options for a Mega Pokemon, and this typing is no different. There are 3 different Pokemon with the Poison typing when they Mega Evolve, and one of them I already have plans for on a future team. That made the decision pretty simple when I was left with the other 2, so allow me to introduce the first Pokemon, Mega Gengar. Some of you guys might be a little bit disappointed to see Gengar here as opposed to being on the best team for Ghost types in the future, but honestly I thought it would be more fun to include that over Mega Beedrill. Mega Gengar is such an awesome Pokemon, and there's a reason why it's been forced into Ubers and has stayed there ever since Generation 6's meta. It has an incredible high special attack stat, absolutely stellar speed, and just a devastating ability and move pull. However, before we do anything with EVs or nature, I like to mention that Mega Gengar already has a base 170 special attack, which ties with Hoopa Unbound and Kyurem White for the 4th highest special attack stat in all of Pokemon. Now let's get these 252 EVs in both their special attack and speed, along with a timid nature. Gengar's massive special attack now sits at 439, and the speed sits right below the 400 mark at 394. I'm sure those totals are probably all the explanation I need for including Gengar on this team. But what may be even more imperative to share about Mega Gengar is its ability Shadow Tag. Shadow Tag prevents the opponent Pokemon from switching out, and depending on the type of moves you run on Gengar, you can severely punish the opponent. It already creates a tense environment in many battles, and the option to switch out is taken away. But when up against a Pokemon like Mega Gengar that is absolutely can tear apart just about any other Pokemon, it's a nightmare that gets turned up to 11. Mega Gengar is loaded up with Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, and Taunt. Shadow Ball was incredibly important to include for both stab reasons, as well as a move that gives a chance to lower the opponent's special defense some, so it can take out our opponents just a little quicker. There is a 20% chance that a drop will come to the opponent's special defense, and while Mega Gengar perhaps won't even need the opponent's special defense to be any lower to take them out, it's a nice added bit to the move. Following up is Focus Blast, which is mostly included in the set to give us an option for Pokemon that Ghost and Poison type moves just might not affect as much. It's got 120 base power, but a rather unfortunate 70% accuracy, so it'll probably be a circumstantial move more often than not. We follow that up with Sludge Bomb, another stab move that will end up with the boosted 135 base power. Sludge Bomb was a little more appealing to me than Sludge Wave, mostly due in part to there being a better chance of poisoning the opponent. Since the opponent is going to be stuck in battle for as long as Gengar is in the field anyway, should it end up being poisoned, it'll be good to make sure it can't switch out to avoid fainting. Finally, there is Taunt, which prevents the opponent from using any status changing moves. Moves like Spore and Thunder Wave will fail, and most attempts at doing anything to Gengar that isn't causing damage will be impossible. Moving on from our Mega, we'll stick up some Generation 1 power and bring out one of my personal favorite Pokemon, Nidoking. With all of its appearances on the regular best teams, you know it had to make one of these typing teams at some point. The cool thing about Nidoking is that he presents an opportunity to roll out with either physical or a special build. In the case of his appearance on this best team though, Nidoking is going to be a special attacker. There is such a wide variety of moves that Nidoking has the opportunity to take advantage of, and its role will be as a coverage machine. While I'm not talking about its moves quite yet, I will talk about the ability it will be using to help make these moves even stronger. You could probably guess, but Nidoking will have its hidden ability Sheer Force brought into play. Sheer Force takes away the effects of moves like Iron Head and Thunderbolt that could do things like flinch or paralyze the opponent, but in return it offers a 1.3 times boost to the base power. Right off the bat with an ability like that, Nidoking is going to be hitting pretty hard, but it's only going to get better. I decided to give him 252 EVs in special attack and speed, much like with Mega Gengar, as well as the timid nature. The special attack for Nidoking goes up to 269 and its speed is 295. While those aren't huge gains, I've still got a little trick up my sleeve to help make it hit harder, and that trick is the Toy Specs at him. The Toy Specs will push Nidoking's special attack above 400 and have it stay locked into whatever move it uses for the rest of its time in battle. Between Sheer Force and the Toy Specs, Nidoking will take its 4 coverage moves into battle and be a fine warrior. Like I said earlier, Nidoking is going to be the king of coverage with this moveset, rocking out with Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower. Keep in mind Nidoking has Sheer Force, so none of the secondary abilities of these moves are going to be coming into play. Let's start off with Earth Power's base power, which after being boosted by Sheer Force becomes 117, and then with stab becomes 175. It's a powerful move that will serve as the main attack Nidoking uses, covering against rock, electric, poison, steel, and fire types. The next move is Sludge Wave, which is going to be getting boosted up to 185 base attack. It would normally give a 10% chance to cause poison, but of course if Sheer Force that is disregarded. This move provides coverage against grass types and fairy types, but as well just a generally strong move to use against anything in a battle that doesn't resist. Next there is Ice Beam, which will sit at a 117 base power from Sheer Force, and be yet another important move for Nidoking. Dragging, grass, flying, and other ground types will be at Nidoking's mercy thanks to Ice Beam, giving it even more Pokemon that dominate. Finally there is Flamethrower, yet another 117 base power move that gives coverage against the ice, steel, grass, and bug types. With the 4 moves at its disposal, Nidoking will be able to cause super effective damage to 12 different typings. The only weaknesses it has that it doesn't have moves to cover for are Psychic and Water, but I think it should be fine regardless. It wouldn't be a best team if we didn't have some sort of bulky support Pokemon, and in this case we're going to be turning to the giant mushroom that is Amoonguss. Amoonguss isn't exactly a Pokemon you want for its offensive prowess, but it's got a great HP stat and a workable special defense stat. The ability Amoonguss will have is its hidden ability Regenerator. Every time it switches out of battle, it's going to regain a third of its max HP, giving it the chance to survive much longer than the average Pokemon. Since Amoonguss is going to be serving exclusively as a Pokemon that gives us bulk, it'll be getting a boost to HP and special defense. It already has a nice 114 base HP and a modest 80 base special defense, but I know it can do better, so I gave it 252 EVs in HP and special defense, along with a calm nature that will boost both stats to 432 and 284. This is going to work out nicely for our plans to have Amoonguss take hits, and once you've seen the moves I've set up, stay alive. The mushroom is set up to stall of Toxic, Clear Smog, Ingrain, and Giga Drain. Toxic is definitely a move you probably should have expected to see on this team, but you won't see it as much as you might expect. Toxic has 90% accuracy, and should it hit will poison the opponent pretty badly. Since Amoonguss is built to survive for a long time, poisoning its opponents is the best thing it can do. Following Toxic is another poison type move, this time Clear Smog. It's a move that doesn't miss, and it's going to have a 75 base power thanks to Stab. The main reason for using it though is just in case the opponent thinks it'll have a chance to set up on you while you're at it with Amoonguss. It completely does away with any stat change your opponent has committed, and it is a move that will surely come in handy. After that is Ingrain, a move that gets you back 1/16 of your health every turn, but will prevent you from being able to switch out and take advantage of Regenerator. I would suggest using it only if you feel you can stay in with Amoonguss for the rest of the battle. Finally there is Giga Drain, which will end up with 112 base power and will give Amoonguss back 50% of the damage it deals with the move. That's not all for those 2 moves though, as Amoonguss is holding the Big Root, which will give even more HP back. The amount of HP gotten back from Ingrain will go up to 30%, and the HP received back from Giga Drain shoots up to 65% of the damage done. Amoonguss is built to last like the tank it is, and has a great spot locked down on this team. Let's keep it rooted right in Generation 5, this time with our first appearance from a bug type on this list, Scolipede. Scolipede is a Pokemon that is actually pretty good, and that's no secret, but it sort of feels like a lot of trainers don't really take advantage of it often. I'll definitely take advantage of it here, though I'll say it was tough trying to figure out if I wanted to include it on this best team, or the soon to come best team for bug types. With the power this team has, it felt like a good move to include Scolipede to really boost the powerful culture that's been built up. I'm sure without even talking about its stats, you guys already know exactly what I'll be doing. The ability on Scolipede is Speed Boost, which continues the trend of hidden abilities being used, and at the end of each turn, it will have its speed go up a stage. Eventually that will lead to outspeed everything of course, but first we've got to bump up the stats on their own. I put 252 EVs into attack and speed, along with the Adamant nature to give it a 328 in attack and 323 in speed. Those are both some great stats to start off with, and as you'll come to find with the moves, they'll only be going up. Also, Scolipede will be holding a Life Orb, which increases the power of its attacks by 1.3 times, while taking away a 10th of its HP each time. Scolipede is set up to be so strong and so fast, it's a dark horse for best Pokemon on the team. The moveset Scolipede will go to war with is Swords Dance, Poison Jab, Mega Horn, and Aqua Tail. Swords Dance will give us a setup I alluded to earlier, raising Scolipede's attack by 2 stages for every usage. Just using it once will double its attack to 656, and even with only one setup, that's going to hit harder than almost every other Pokemon could ever imagine hitting. Following up Swords Dance, Poison Jab is next, and has a Stab and Life Orb boosted 156 base power. You end up with a 30% chance to poison the opponent, and with so much PP, should use Max It Out, a great move against just about any Pokemon you come across. Mega Horn is next, and it's the big all or nothing move on this set. It only has 85% accuracy, but between the Life Orb and Stab boost, it's an incredibly strong move that can probably one-shot quite a few Pokemon. It'll be great for coverage against psychic types, which will give Scolipede a hard time. Alternatively, you could use X-Scissor if you want something with better accuracy that doesn't hit as hard. Finally, we have Aqua Tail, boosted to 120 of Life Orb, which will help against rock and ground types that might try to take out Scolipede either with strong ground type moves or super effective rock type moves. With it 3 physical attacks lined up with Swords Dance, Scolipede is a major offensive threat that could earn you a few sweeps as its speed goes up. We're going to be keeping things in Alola for the last two Pokemon, starting off with the Alolan form of Muck. Alolan Muck offers some really interesting prospects of usage that made me choose it over its Kanto counterpart. It has some good bulk with base 105 HP and base 100 defense, as well as a great base 100 attack stat. That's going to set up Alolan Muck as a great Pokemon to send out and have it get to you through midway points in battle. If you need it to fill in as a Pokemon that can do damage and take a few hits, it'll do it for you no problem. I gave it 252 EVs and H and attack along with the Adamant Nature to bring those stats up to 414 and 339 respectively. Don't worry though, because I won't stop there with the attempt to bulk up Muck, as I'm also going to put the Assault Vest on it, which will boost its special defense up to 355. Being both dark and poison type will also enable Muck to be weak only to the ground typing, and as you'll see with our moveset, we're prepared for those. Alolan Muck might just be defensively the best Pokemon we've got on the team, depending on how much it ends up being used. Alolan Muck is going to be getting the best of both worlds as both typings are well represented. It's going to have Pursuit, Knockoff, Poison Jab, and Ice Punch. Pursuit is a boosted 60 base power, and will double the 120 if it is used on a Pokemon that switches it out, which is a very possible scenario as switching out can become an often occurrence in mini battles between human players. Knockoff follows it as another stat move, and it doesn't need much of an introduction. It is a very strong move when used against a Pokemon holding an item, and removing items from an equation might force your opponent to scramble and come up with a new plan. Poison Jab is next and is the other set of stat from Muck, with a boosted base 120 power and a 30% chance to poison the opponent. Finally, there is Ice Punch, and that takes care of the only type that can deal super effective damage to Alolan Muck, the ground type. It would be a pretty decent move to pull out against other Pokemon too, and it has a nice 10% chance to freeze the opponent, just in case you haven't poisoned everyone. Alolan Muck sure is lucky to not have to worry about too many weaknesses, and when you're the only dark/poison type out there, you get these kinds of perks. We're closing out the best team for poison types, so the best poison typing of the Ultra Beasts, Naganadel. Naganadel is the only Ultra Beast that evolves from something else, that being Poipole, unless you also count Cosmog and its evolutions as Ultra Beasts as well. I wanted to have a real powerful Pokemon on this team, but much to my dismay, there weren't any legendary Pokemon with the poison typing. That led me to the next best thing, an Ultra Beast. There are actually only two fully evolved Ultra Beasts with the poison typing, those being the aforementioned Naganadel and Nihilego. In my eyes, Naganadel is a much better Pokemon, and thus it made its way to the team as our final member. Naganadel is poised to be our nuclear bomb Pokemon, set with a very high special attack stat and some great moves. It's got 127 base special attack and 121 speed, and we'll be turning both those up with 252 EVs and the Modest Nature. Now armed with 388 special attack and 341 speed, Naganadel is prepared to destroy the opponent and show it the true extent of Beast Boost, which will go ahead and raise its special attack stat by a stage for each Pokemon it KOs. Our Ultra Beast is going to be set up with Sludge Bomb, Heat Wave, Air Slash, and Draco Meteor. Sludge Bomb is going to be a big part of this moveset, bumping up to a base power of 135 thanks to Stab. You'll probably be using Sludge Bomb as the usual move to attack every Pokemon you're out against, but if it doesn't work, we've got other moves that should. Heat Wave is up next, and it is for those ice types that threaten Naganadel due to its dragon typing. It's got a 95 base power with only 90% accuracy, which obviously isn't perfect, but it makes up for it by giving you a 10% chance to burn the opponent. You know how much I like to stress the importance of having moves that cause status elements, and this is nothing different. Air Slash is another one of those moves, where it will allow you to deal damage with its 75 base power that also offers a chance to flinch your opponent. That chance is 30% and not to be taken lightly, as it could be extremely useful against a psychic type Pokemon, as that is one of the only typings that has to worry about dealing super effective damage. Finally, there's Draco Meteor, which is the nuke move for this Pokemon, a stab boosted 195 base power dragon type move that should have no problem taking out anything. However, it isn't just Draco Meteor you have, as the item Naganadel is holding is none other than the Dragonium Z, which can transform into Devastating Drake, which packs a 292 base power thanks again to Stab. With a move like that, you'll definitely one-shot anything. However, Draco Meteor isn't without its drawbacks, as their special attack will drop by 2 stages every time you use it. Remember, however, that Naganadel has Beast Boost, and every time it knocks out a Pokemon, it's going to gain a stage to its special attack. So even though you end up dropping your special attack with the usage of Draco Meteor, if you play smartly, you'll fix it up after not too long. And just like that, another best team is in the books. I feel this team could be the most well-together type yet, taking advantage of some of the best poison type has to offer. As always, I want to hear from you guys. Please let me know what you guys think about this team in the comments. If you use it, let me know how it goes. Would you guys do anything differently, and is there any Pokemon you'd rather see on the team that wasn't included? Let me know everything down here in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, and Sudden Grider did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.